Okay, perfect. Now we're officially recording.
Now we're
So
officially recording. We're officially doing this. Perfect. All right, guys. Welcome back to the RDR show. This is Kevin. I'm here joined by Summer again.
it's
What's up, Summer?
always good to be back.
I know, right? It's been a couple of weeks.
It's been a couple of weeks, and I was just saying the world's changed. It becomes crazier.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
um, I don't know. It's like what's gonna happen next? Aliens?
Well, that's true. It has been a rough week here for people here in Utah. So that's
Oh,
why.
exactly. And as a matter of fact, I think we had an aftershock
15
yesterday or
hours
so.
ago.
Yeah. So it was like, oh my heck, it's not gonna stop. Um, and I'm closer to Magna than you are.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
I
didn't feel
feel
anything this morning.
it. Yeah, I feel it. I always feel it, like, because it's kind of like, so close. So
Yeah.
was that your first experience with an earthquake, or?
Yeah, pretty much. I think it happened like Wednesday,
Uh-huh.
Thursday of last week, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I was waking up. I think it shook on at 7:15 a.m. I was
Uh-huh.
meditating. I was in the I was in the zone, and it started shaking and I was like looking around, what's going on? And then it went away, and I was ready to like jet out of the house if it continues. And
Hmm.
then I was like, okay, cool. I think we're fine. And I went back to meditating. That was it.
Oh, okay. So
So
I mean, like, just my first, but when we got hit here, we were kind of waking up.
mm-hmm,
We were still kind of like half sleepy, waking up kind of thing, and started to
mm-hmm,
shake. And like, yes, my first instinct was like, let's go out of the house.
mm-hmm.
Like, let's go out of the house. My wife was like, no, we should stand in the doorway, because for some reason she heard that you should stand in the doorway. And then we looked up on Google, like, what should we do in front of an earthquake? And it's like, you shouldn't stand in the doorway, and you shouldn't go out. You should, like, take cover under a table.
Right.
Um, or if you're in your bed, then you should turn your self face down and put a pillow on yourself, protecting your neck and your head.
Oh, good to know.
So I was like, exactly right. It's like, good to know.
How long did
Um,
it take for you to Google that?
a few minutes.
Oh crap, we are gonna die next time then when it happens.
It's like, man, we need to figure out what we need to do before we like die. So
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, it's just like, it's stuff that, and the university does that. It has its drill every year. It has its earthquake drill every year,
Yeah.
and I never took it seriously. Like,
While
you
you're
know,
experiencing it, right? It was
yeah.
just
Now
tons of like loud alarms going up, and oh yeah, it's gonna damage my like a hearing, and then you don't take it seriously until you actually experience one. So that's for sure.
exactly, it's the power of experiencing.
Right.
Um, so,
Yeah,
but yeah, go on. Yeah,
that's what
sorry.
I heard is that like in Utah we don't really get that much earthquake. We might get
Hmm.
some tiny ones, but like we might get a big one maybe from like Yellowstone or something. Then it's gonna wipe out the entire Utah. I was like, cool.
Well, yeah. I mean, hopefully,
Hopefully
hopefully
not.
not in my lifetime, but
Yeah, but
I mean, it's a possible. I mean, I know Japan faces, like, it has earthquakes all the time. I mean,
yeah,
California had a huge earthquake
yeah.
in the past century, so right,
Mm-hmm.
so uh, yeah, crazy things can happen. I just feel like, in myself, I felt like I need to be better prepared,
That's true.
um,
Me too.
and take, like, I am responsible for my wife and my dog. It's like, I have a family. I can't just be like, oh yeah, it's okay. I'll just, figure it out, kind of thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I think we should take having an emergency kit, a 72-hour kit in your car, a little bit more seriously.
Yeah.
So
I feel like same thing is happening with the virus, although I don't think it's to the standard that I'm hoping for, but people are changing their perception about the virus as well. So that's good.
exactly, except for that, I just heard that some missionaries came from Asia, and there was like large gatherings to meet them at the airport. Like this was yesterday or day before yesterday, and it's like, really, guys,
Really,
what
guys?
what happened to all the social distancing?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's true. Um, I'm even surprised that you made it back pretty safely because let's backtrack. Let's start there, right? So
yeah. Let's
spring
go
break.
back.
Yeah.
Spring break was not the spring break that I wanted, but
All
that's
right.
what I got.
Tell me about it.
So it's kind of funny because when we were leaving from the States to go to Scotland, we were supposed to go to like Salt Lake to Canada, Toronto,
Okay.
and then from Toronto to London,
Okay.
and then from London to Scotland, Edinburgh.
Okay.
So we made it to Canada, and we got an email saying that the airline that was going to take us from London to Edinburgh had filed for bankruptcy and had closed all its airlines.
Which one it is? I think I know which one are you talking about.
It's called Flybe.
Okay. I
It's
don't
called
know.
Flybe. It's like a local. It's like more of like a local UK, a European kind of thing. And
Okay.
it was like, oh my heck, we had all of this planned perfectly, you know. And now it's like, if we have to get from London to Scotland, now we have to buy new tickets, which are going to be more expensive.
Right.
Because we were doing last minute, like the day before. So it was like we were in panic mode then. Anyways, we were able to buy new tickets on a different airline and get our money back from our credit card company because they have this special thing. If the company goes under, it's filed for bankruptcy, you can get money from your credit card company.
Okay.
It's not an unusual thing. So anyways, that was the first sign. It was like
not a good start.
It was not a good start. So I was like, fine, whatever. So we make our way to London, and we were like, okay, let's catch the flight. So the flight was from a different airport in London.
How many airports are there?
There's quite a few in London. There's
Okay.
two kind of big ones, like London Heathrow and then London Gatwick, and they're like smaller ones that do like only do European stuff. They don't fly outside Europe. So anyways, that airport was like an hour away.
Okay.
And we had to take a bus to get to that airport.
Okay.
So I was like, yes, we have the bus ticket. Let's go on the bus. And we're about to get on the bus, and I'm like, let me double check the airport. And I got tickets for the wrong airport. Like, I got bus tickets for the wrong airport.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my heck, okay. So I had to go buy new bus tickets, and we barely made it in time to catch our flight. However, hold on. So this is like one of those airlines that overbooks.
Okay.
So when we went to go to check in, they were like, all the seats are full. You guys are in standby. So it was like, are you serious? So now we're in
tickets in.
Yes, like, yeah, it's like, you know, and I was like, okay, fine. If there's one or two standby, your chances are more.
Yeah.
There were like 9 standby people.
Okay.
And I'm like, how are they going to decide who to let on board?
Right.
You know, it's like, if it's like, let's say only 5 seats available, are they going to make us like fight, like Hunger Games stuff, or like
rock, paper, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors? Like, what's going to happen? It was like, so we were really worried that we might not be able to make it to Scotland, and like, because we had all like an Airbnb booked, and it's like we're wasting money there. Anyways, there were 9 seats available, like 10 seats available, so we all got in, thankfully. So, and then we were able to get to our Airbnb in like Scotland. So
Okay.
all that we finally reached. We're like, we made it. This is good. We're going to have an awesome spring break starting from then.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, it always rains in the UK.
Pretty much.
Usually, pretty much. You know,
Yeah.
it's like less rain or more rain.
Yeah.
So March is not a good time. It's a rainy season in
Right.
Scotland.
Right.
And I was prepared for a little bit rain. Like, yeah, okay, you know, yeah, that's fine.
Uh-huh.
And in Edinburgh, which is on the lower end of Scotland, it was like okay, it was like manageable rain. You know, we saw things, we saw castle, we saw stuff. I don't know. I mean, I don't think you have my wife's Instagram, but she posts stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, okay, all good. You know. Then our plan was to go to the upper part of Scotland,
Uh-huh.
where it's like all rocks and sea and very beautiful and pretty.
Mm-hmm.
So we go there, and we had planned a lot of outdoor hikes, you know, and like just outdoor stuff.
Right.
It happened to have Utah weather. It was snowing, it was raining, it was cold. I'm like, I don't hike in the cold and snow in Utah.
Yeah, I'm from
not gonna
India.
hike.
I don't do this kind of stuff.
I was like, okay, well, whatever. I mean, that was so it wasn't like we weren't able to do what we wanted to do. And all this time, it's like Corona is like, US is doing this, and US is going to have a travel ban for Europe.
Yeah.
It was gonna come Friday, and it was like, okay, now what are we gonna do? Like, you know, we want to make sure we reach home
Yeah.
safely. So anyways, we try to do our best as we can there, try to have as much fun as we can, but this is always the case. Then on, I think it was Friday or Thursday, we get an email from Lufthansa saying that they have canceled their flight from Germany, Munich to LA.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh shoot, what are we gonna do? And every time we call, the wait time to talk to somebody is like hours, not just minutes.
Right.
So we were like, we gotta call somebody. So we called the people that we booked through United, and we were there for like hours on the phone.
Uh-huh.
Finally, after hours, we were able to like have them put us on a flight from London directly to LA, so we don't have to go through like a European country.
Okay.
Because the travel ban was going to be in effect on Friday. And the travel ban allowed US citizens to come through. But in my mind, it would be like, yeah, that is okay. But the airlines are not gonna like, for them doesn't make sense to have a full airline with only like 4 passengers, right?
Right.
So they're gonna cancel their flights. They're gonna do something else. So it's gonna be more inconvenient for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a hassle. Anyways, we were able to get to a flight from London to LA, amongst all of this Corona nonsense. We come to LA, and you have a normal check-in, and then you have the CDC check-in.
Right.
So you have to go through the CDC line where they take your temperature and they ask you to fill a questionnaire. And thankfully, we were only there for like 30 minutes or so, 30 or 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy, the police officer was like, in Chicago and New York, the line has gone for like 6 to 7 hours.
Really? Just
Yeah.
to do CDC check-in.
Just to do CDC check-in. Like, so I was like, okay, well, we made it. Like, we were able to get out of it. Fingers crossed. The next day we caught a plane from LA to Salt Lake and made it home. And amongst that, it's like, do we have it? Do we not have it? What should we do? I mean, it's always the thing. So self-quarantining, as you can see, like I have a cold.
Okay.
I mean, you cannot see it, but like my nose is stuffy, and
Okay.
I'm coughing, and I have some fever, but because I have a runny nose and my sinus and everything are aching, it's more like a cold.
Okay.
but it's always like every time you go and you cough, you're like, oh, I can't like anybody hear it. So,
Does your muscle aches?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that too. I mean, in a regular cold, you will have that.
Right.
Regular flu or cold, you will have the same. You'll just have more symptoms, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
but anyways, no shortness of breath. So,
Okay.
there was my wife told me that there was this comedian or somebody who had posted on the Instagram page like a meme, and it said that before I used to cough to cover a fart. Now I fart to cover a cough.
Right. That's true. Very.
So yeah, it's been quite a few crazy weeks, and it's just been a lot of recovering, resting, uh, like trying to make sure we have enough food supplies, and um, we don't want to hoard stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, just to make sure everybody gets what they need,
Okay.
but we just want to make sure that we have enough to get us through like a few weeks, maybe a month or so,
Okay.
if this thing continues.
That makes
So
sense. So, is your visit to Scotland is it being cut short, or will you rush back, or you kind of plan on everything?
it wasn't cut short as per se, but it was marred. It was marred because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
It was marred because of the stress of the situation. Of like, we don't know if we can come back home on time. Are they
Yeah.
gonna hold us? All of that. So it's kind of all of that didn't really like, if maybe if the stress wasn't there and the weather was bad, maybe we still have been able to enjoy it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, like next time, if we do go in a place that's raining in March, let's not do it. Let's
Pretty
go
much
to a place
everywhere
where
it's
it's
raining in March. Now I think about it. Pretty much everywhere that has 4 seasons is raining in March.
exactly. So it's like it might be like maybe. What about Hawaii? I don't know if it's raining. Maybe it is.
Uh, yeah, like that's why people on a spring break they go to Florida, right? Or they go to
Uh, Mexico, yeah. I was like something like that where it's more sunny and
yeah.
we're not kind of miserable. So
How was the food
um,
there?
the food, you know, I will say that I did not have the national dish of Scotland. It's called haggis. Um, it's if let me pull it up and tell you what it's made of.
You can share your screen as well, by the way.
Well, I'm just doing a quick.
Okay, cool.
I'll just read it out. So haggis is a savory pudding containing sheep's pluck,
What's the
minced. Let's see what sheep's pluck is.
You don't even know? You're just in Scotland.
It's from what I was told. It's the oh okay. It's the internal organs of a sheep, specifically liver, lungs, and heart.
Ooh, I love that. That sounds
Okay, then you might like haggis.
that sounds interesting.
So
So
it's made up of that with onion and oatmeal and spices and mixed with like stock. And
okay.
it's traditionally cooked encased in the animal's stomach,
Okay. I love
like a sausage is like a
Ooh,
So
interesting.
yeah, we did not have that. We instead we had the second national dish of UK, Indian food.
You went to Switzerland for Indian food? Really?
Oh boy, the Indian food there is much, much, much better than the Indian food here.
That
So
that I believe. Wait, is there like a lot of Indian people from India there, or is that why?
a lot of people from India, a lot of people from Bangladesh, from Pakistan.
Really?
So
Okay.
so there, the dishes that you can get there. I was like, yeah, I haven't had those dishes here like whatsoever.
Really?
So
Oh,
we did enjoy. We're having Indian food every other day or every 2 days. So
there you go. Not bad.
it was like that part was good. That part of the trip was good.
The food
So
part was good. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we didn't have a lot of. I think one time we went to a traditional, like a pub place, and we got some. I got like lamb chop and something else, and it was, for me, it was pretty bland. Like I had to put a lot of salt and pepper.
What? On lamb chops?
On the lamb chop, and the dish they had, it was like lamb chop with mashed potatoes in a bakewell tart, which is like a pie-ish thing, like a pie crust.
Okay.
So I just had to spice it up quite a bit. So
Mm.
it's like a lot of their food is just like that. It's kind of bland, with like peas, potatoes, some kind of a meat dish, like literally meat and potatoes, you know. Um, so yeah, I mean that's I mean I don't want to say unfortunate, but it was like I wasn't going there for the food, so
Okay.
uh,
What is the most like? What is your and your wife's like most favorite thing about Switzerland or no, Switzerland, about Scotland?
Scotland, the Scottish accent.
The Scottish accent. People talk and then you just laugh pretty much.
No, it's like, oh, I wish I could do that accent here.
Okay.
But what do you mean our favorite? Like, what did we enjoy the most?
Yeah. What is the number one thing that you and your wife you enjoy? It could be a separate thing, but like, what is your like number one thing that you enjoy? You know. So.
I think we both enjoyed the walking tours and the history.
Okay.
The like UK and Scotland and stuff, they have such a rich history. And have you ever seen like Braveheart?
Yeah.
There you go. It's like William Wallace, like that's Scotland.
Okay. Like the
And
castle, like the
yeah, and you could go to a place where like William Wallace like fought the actual battle.
Oh, cool.
And you can see the castles, and you can you can soak up the history, like, and it has both UK and Scotland. They have their history goes back 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure China, and if I mean, India to some extent too, but
Mm-hmm.
their history seems very preserved. If that makes sense.
Okay.
It's not like lost.
Okay.
So that I felt was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Isle of Skye. Have you seen Outlander or Highlander?
The movie?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay, so it's the upper part of Scotland called the Highlands, where it's very beautiful, very scenic.
Right.
It would be really beautiful in the summer with just like cliffs and sea, clear sky. It's actually called the Isle of the Skye.
Right.
So I think in the summertime, like if I were to go there to kind of feel that beauty, I would go back in the summer and kind of like soak that nature, soak that beauty into.
That's true.
So I mean, yeah, but like both of us liked our walking tours that we did. We did like a ghost tour. And talked about like haunted stuff and ghosts and stuff like that. So it's also pretty interesting.
Cool.
He ended the talk in a graveyard at like night, and all of us was a little bit spooked.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so I think that's kind of we enjoyed that most.
Good. Awesome.
So I mean, I would. Like we were in Barcelona in Spain 2 years ago, and we were there for like a week, just in one city. So we could do more. Like we even saw a movie there.
Right.
So it's like you kind of soak up what would it be like to be a local,
right
there. So so yeah, I personally would like to do stuff more like that, where you're there in a city for a little bit while, and there's enough to kind of see and kind of soak up like what would it be to be like a local here. And you can get the full experience in a week, but just a little bit teaser.
Definitely. Yeah, that's definitely prime. Like when I'm sightseeing, I always ask, hey, like even in China to like different city, like where do the locals go? Where do they eat? What do they, what is the place that most tourist people they don't go? And I want to go
exactly.
there,
Yeah, that would be, and I think in some sense like Salt Lake or in U.S. the U.S. history is comparatively shorter, and a lot of history is kind of back east, and some in the west, but. Um, So yeah, I think that was kind of enjoyable. Like we would have, if we had stayed longer, we would have tried to go to like theater there. We would have tried to see a play or something there, like the West End or stuff like that. So, but maybe in the future, maybe in the future.
If you're supposed to plan it all over again, like how long do you want to stay there? Perfect situation. You don't have to worry about PTO, don't have to worry about work. Like what do you think is a prime time that you want to stay there for?
I would perhaps try to stay, um, like, and perfect, and weather was nice and something. I would try to stay for maybe like a week in the highlands and maybe like a week, at least a week in the lowlands.
Okay.
And the lowlands means like Edinburgh, the capital, Glasgow, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. And like a week above, like in the highlands,
Mm-hmm.
kind of soak up, maybe if there wasn't a lot to do in the highlands, maybe 5 days and like more time in the lowlands was something like 2 weeks is what I would try to aim for. If I wasn't intending to live there,
Okay.
So
How's the jet lag? Is it like 5 hours ahead or something around there?
it's like 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours ish, like
So,
seven. Yeah.
so just
So
an iffy spot.
it's just the iffy spot where it's like I last week I was getting hungry, like super hungry at like 10 or 11 or something like that. It's like the dinner time. So it's like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah. So it's like I think I'm okay now.
Mm-hmm.
But like yeah, and the biggest hit I feel when it comes to jet lag is not the place itself, but the airline. So because the airline you pass through different zones that you can't really sleep well, or
Yeah.
so it's like it's kind of
I
hard that way.
I can never fall asleep on a plane. Like that's just
Yeah,
miserable. Like on my flight to like China, like 14-hour flight. Jesus Christ, I cannot fall asleep.
did you go? Was it direct?
No, I think there was one time I flew from Seattle to Beijing. It's like 12 hours.
Oh,
What I'm talking about is from here to Seattle and then Seattle to Beijing. So
yeah. Okay, that's that. Yeah, our flight, a direct flight from London to LA was like 11 hours,
yeah.
and it was our. I think there was seats way in the back.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not the best seats. I prefer to sit near the window,
Mm-hmm.
so I can kind of I can rest my head on the window,
Okay.
because I suffer from motion sickness, so it's like
Okay.
it's better for me to just try to rest my head. I cannot read on a plane or a car. I cannot. I can only watch movies. I cannot read books. I
Not
cannot
even
read anything.
audiobooks?
Well, you're not reading audiobooks. You're listening.
Okay.
Uh,
Cannot do a
but
reading.
I cannot read. I cannot read at all.
Okay. That's lame.
But yeah. So it was like watching movies.
Okay.
And there's this movie that I watched called Neza. Um,
Okay.
it's an animated movie
Uh-huh.
from China.
Okay. Called Naja, right? And
Naja, yeah, Naja, yeah,
N-H-A?
yeah, Naja.
Okay.
And I was blown by it. I was like, the animation is on par. The animation is on par with like Pixar and
Is that the latest one that it just came out like a year ago or something?
yep. It just came out a year ago, and it was like I was really blown by it. Like I mean, the story was simplistic, but it was just like Man, for some reason in my mind, I was like, oh, it's from China. It's not going to be as good. It's not going to
How
have
dare
that
you?
much standard. I know. And it's like, no, these guys don't need it. I mean, like, it's just, I was just impressed. And
Good.
every time like some of Indian animated shorts are really nice, but more or less, I feel like they're always lagging behind.
Yeah.
So, but this was like, and enjoyed the movie as well. And there's another one that I downloaded called White Snake. The English thing is White Snake.
Okay.
Um,
来说传. Is that Chinese too?
yeah, it's Chinese
Like the
too.
tail of the white snake, right? Yeah. I know
Yes, Tale of the White Snake. So,
that.
uh,
You're watching some Chinese stuff. I like it.
yeah, and I don't mind watching. I mean, that Ninja I watched, that was English dub. It was pretty good. But I don't mind watching the original language and watching subtitles.
Yeah.
Like, I think it gives a little bit more experience, more better experience that the directors may have wanted, you know. So, but yeah, so most of the time was watching movies. I watched Godzilla.
Okay.
I watched Ford versus Ferrari.
Okay.
I watched Naja.
Okay.
John Wick 3.
John Wick 3.
I finished all my John Wicks now. I watched John Wick 1, John Wick 2, John Wick 3. I cut up all my John Wicks now.
Good. I don't get a John Wicks, to be honest. Like, you know, like 20 minutes in, I was like, why are they still fighting? Like, they're fighting just for fighting. There's no purpose. Like, there's no purpose.
You're right. I mean, basically, so the magic of John Wick is the gun fu. It's not the story.
Yeah, it's the
The
way
gun fu. It's the way they're fighting. It's like, and it's from what I read, it is pretty close. I wouldn't say it's 100% realistic, but it gets pretty close. Like the fighting moves and the gun moves are what they trained for, and you could see that in a professional, like that those moves and stuff. I mean, he takes more damage, and again, a lot of times in a lot of movies, especially Indian movies, the hero's gonna take like 20 bullets to his chest and still be able to like walk and like nothing has happened.
Right.
You know. But John Wick, he's staggering. He's like, I gotta go to the doctor. Like, it's like, yeah, man, you're hurt. Like, you know, I mean, it's like you're like, come on, man, get up, man. Like, you can do it. Like, you're like on his side, kind of. But but yeah, it was just like I just wanted to finish people. It's got good ratings, and it's one of those like movies that, you know, you're not going to be nominated for an Oscar or something, but it's just it develops a cult following because of the way it is.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of interesting to kind of watch that. So
yeah, I call those movies like Fast and Furious or
they're all in the same category.
They're the what I call is called the brainless, you know, a soulless action movie.
Yeah. You close your brain, you shut your brain off, and there's no thought or like, you know, intrigue behind when the movie ends. It's just like, oh, cool experience.
Right.
Next one. You know,
right.
Yeah, it's the same thing, you know. But anyways, I what else did I watch? I don't think I watched. That was pretty much, I think.
Okay. Because I was hoping you're gonna listen to every single episode of the RDR show on the way back.
I had downloaded. I mean, I listened to all up to that point, and after that, it's okay. When I listen to podcasts, I like listen to it like what do you call? Like when I'm walking my dog, when I'm like doing something, like, you know, and so it's like my reserved time to do that.
Right.
And I felt like I didn't get that time, that reserved time. So now I'm catching up, you know. So I don't know if you caught my reference to cap when I said I didn't want to cap my time.
What's the reference? I don't know.
That was with Joffrey's thing when you're like, you shouldn't cap it, you should think long term, otherwise you'll do a short term bust.
Right.
So
That's true. That's a
it's
career.
okay.
That's a career thing. I remember now.
Yeah.
So many, like, you know, like, because I've been trying to put out content every single
I know. You've been crazy with your content.
on the Chinese side, and I'm actually doing 2 different podcasts now. Like
Oh, really? Okay.
one in Chinese and one in English.
What's your Chinese one called?
Uh, called 美国聊有聊. So it's like a wordplay on RDR. So it translates to like USA talk and talk more, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
So it's a play on RDR because RDR is rant, debate, and repeat. So you have like, you know, repetitive.
Yeah, okay.
So
I'm curious, how many podcasts do you have on there?
12.
Okay. So that's kind of like your solo. Obviously, we don't speak Chinese, but
Yeah.
that's your kind of your.
Just to find something to do, man. So
is it the same content or is it a different?
So I do it like a translation. So for example,
Okay.
like if I post a book review on, I don't know, self-awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just did that, and I do it one in English and I do one in Chinese.
Gotcha.
And then on the Chinese feed, I post it twice. So I post an English one and then I do a Chinese one.
Oh, okay.
Like the Joffrey and I, we talk about the iPad Pro. Then, you know, I did an English one and I did a solo one.
Solo one. Gotcha. I skipped a few your smaller ones. I'll go back and listen to them, but I just was trying to finish up the one with Taylor, the one after your iPad Pro, your financial kind of crisis thing.
He's my boss, so
he's your boss? Okay, I was gonna ask you like what's your like relationship with Taylor? Like how do you know him and everything?
Yeah, he's my boss. We've been working for the last 2 years now. So I'm the second in hand, and then I'm his right hand person. So
gotcha. So when he was saying we have torn down 7 shows or something, it's like you've been a part of that tearing down process.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I haven't finished that podcast, and if you do talk about it, that's I can defer to that one. But how does that affect you? Not having road shows or not having
Okay. Can we put a pin on this because I want to
I want
to ask you one last question before
sure please go ahead.
So from your trip, right? Because I was gonna ask you that on Instagram. Let's ask you that when you come back.
No, totally. Go for it.
So like Bernie Sanders always talk about the ideal life of Denmark, right? The ideal life of the European country. I've never been there, so I don't know, right? You've been there for a couple of weeks. Like anything that you find interesting from a culture perspective, from their healthcare perspective, anything you can feel like right along?
So I mean, obviously, I haven't experienced or utilized their healthcare in any way. But from what I know is that the UK has like healthcare. It's like a democratic socialist kind of a country who they love their monarch, they love their king and queen stuff. Not really. At least the UK, I didn't quite see that. I think if I was in Austria or Sweden or stuff like that, I might be able to see that a little bit more. And when I say I see that, I mean it would make sense if I was conversing with people with that regard.
Right.
Do you have to work 9 to 5, or you what are your taxes and stuff like that? So that never quite came up.
Personal questions
like how much taxes you pay? Do you get healthcare? Like, do you use it and stuff like that? So, I mean, I wasn't able to experience that much to be able to give you like a really good answer.
So
everything, go on, yeah.
So from the time that you've been there, like anything you find interesting, anything that you think, oh yeah, if the people there behave differently, or like anything like that, you know?
You know what? I'm trying to think, and from the interactions that we had that week, No,
No?
like
Okay.
not really. Like people were people, and they had to work. We had like on our walking tours,
Mm-hmm.
we had the people that were doing the walking tours were people that were actors. They like did plays and shows and stuff like that. And one of them, she lived in Glasgow, which is like almost like an hour away. So she had to come an hour from Glasgow to give us the Harry Potter tour
Okay.
in Scotland. So J.K. Rowling wrote her books in Edinburgh, in
Really?
Scotland.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Did you see the cafe? And then
Yeah, we saw the cafe. So it was like it's no point going there to get a coffee and seeing and so
do they actually
uh,
let people sit there or just charge people tickets to look at the booth?
like there are two cafes, and one cafe that's more famous is called the Elephant Cafe.
Uh-huh.
And there's no like if you go in the cafe itself, you won't be able to tell that J.K. Rowling ever came here. Like there's no like a booth, there's
Uh-huh.
no like a seat. But if you go in the toilet, the restroom,
Uh-huh.
um, you will see that they have graffitied the entire restroom with Harry Potter quotes,
Uh-huh.
uh,
Cool.
like everywhere. So the biggest difference, I think, was because I went to our Airbnb and I was like, "Where's the restroom?"
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "What?" I was like, "The toilet?" Oh, okay. So I was like, they don't call it restroom; they're the toilets.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, in terms of like people who still had to work.
Okay.
The first Airbnb that we stayed in, the guy was there were two guys that were like living there, and one of them, he was a fire researcher. Like he studied like how fire spreads and how fire works and stuff.
Okay.
And he was going like 2 weeks to go study in the lab, and the other guy was like he used to be a guy who does like Airbnb turnovers, like hotel turnovers, and he
Okay.
was looking for a job, for a different job. He was trying to change his job.
Okay.
So yeah, people are still like, and he was telling us that the rents were not like super cheap. That's why they were doing like Airbnb to kind of like help them
Okay.
buy. So it gave me the sense that people were the same here or there.
Okay.
Um, the prices in the supermarkets for things were comparable,
Uh-huh.
maybe even slightly more expensive there, just depending upon where you went.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like it was super cheap, right? Or super expensive. I mean, pounds gone down, like it's the exchange rate is lower as opposed to like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. It's a
Um,
one now, right?
1.3 ish. One
Okay.
not it might have fallen down, but I mean, so it's like it's kind of comparable and stuff. Um, yeah, like people were nice enough.
Okay.
Um, but again, it's like if you go to a different place here, like Boston or something, you might find people might be a little bit more rude.
Yeah.
Um, that was my experience in
Yeah.
Boston. So it just seemed like it was just usual, like
Okay.
people.
So so I don't know what's your opinion about Bernie Sanders, but do you feel like your perception of him, Bernie, or the stuff that he's promoting, do you feel differently now after you gone to one of his ideal countries?
Well, as I said, like I didn't quite feel the effects of that to kind of
Okay.
put those in perspective.
Okay.
Like, however, having said that, I've had conversations with my wife, who
Mm-hmm.
is becoming a social worker. Social is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Social justice is a thing.
Uh-huh.
So and there's definitely pros and cons to it, the socialistic thinking, the socialistic mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it also has its cons.
Right.
Um, I personally, I don't know, like to think about like, oh, you're going to get all these benefits like healthcare and stuff, but your taxes are going to be jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it can help everybody, right? I mean, if that's the case, if taxes are jacked up and the rich pay their taxes and whatever, it it could help everybody, which seems like a good idea, a good thought, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then I think personally you would have to be more creative to somehow get on top of that system. Because
Right.
right now in a capitalistic kind of system, you're like, you can be selfish and you can hustle and you can do these other things to get ahead in some sense, you know. But if it's like you earn more, if you earn more, you're gonna still pay a lot of taxes. Like, why am I then earning more? Like, there's a
Right.
why. So, which might kill your incentive to be creative.
Okay.
So I think that's kind of my concern with those kind of issues.
Okay.
But maybe if I was older and it's like that would be beneficial for me if I was like older, my 50s or 60s or something, and it's like, oh yeah, I mean, I get healthcare. I don't have to worry about like retirement or
Mm-hmm.
continue to work in some grocery store when I'm 60 years old.
Yeah. I'm not a big I don't know that much about it, but from my experiences, you know, like say younger people, they're free to pursue philosophy, right, or education, or psychology, like, you know, they or arts, right?
Uh-huh.
Like here in China or here, like those people that, you know, they're people going to, okay, cool, you're not gonna make much money, but over there they don't really have to worry about that. That's a plus, right? That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the downside will be sure that pretty much every single person has free healthcare. That's great, but what if you have a emergency, right? What if you're gonna have a knee replacement and then you're on the list for like 6 months? How's your quality of life looking after that?
Yeah. So,
Right?
and again, like I know there's a wait time here as well, but it kind of can change as opposed to like
Yeah.
in Canada, for example, which has that. Like you
Yeah.
could be for like not life-threatening surgeries, you could be way on the
Yeah.
bottom. So 6 months, like,
Six
you know,
months
so
with a bum knee, live with it. Right?
so yeah, like that's you know, I mean, but the flip side is anybody who has a bum knee will be able to get a surgery. But here it's like if you have the money, you can bump yourself up,
Right.
right? Like so again, it's at the end it's like what your core is and what you are going to be happy and content with.
Right. Because I was hoping that the answer that you will give me is that, you know, because they don't have to worry about those things, then, you know, they kind of think in like a different way, if that makes sense.
No, I mean, at least my limited interaction with them didn't seem that is the case.
Okay. Cool. Just
You
wondering.
know, so, but yeah, like
Cool. Should we bring
that's
it back to the States now?
let's bring it back to States. Let's
What's your question again?
what was my question?
About my industry, right?
Yeah, as I was saying, like listening to your podcast, your talk with Taylor, and you guys are tearing down road shows and like kind of minimizing that. Like, has it been affecting you, or will it affect you if it goes on? Like you
Of
were saying
course.
about the Regis suite, and you guys will have to keep paying rent.
Yep.
You know, even though you have shut down your operations, they haven't.
Yeah. So
So.
it is definitely, you know, like it's impacting every single people facing industry here in the US
Mhm.
and in China. There's no doubt about that, right? I mean, when you are dealing with people, then you have to have that problem. And quite frankly, most people that has a service job,
Mhm.
that we should be looking at around 40% to 50% of people that are actually working have a service related job that depend their livelihood on people,
Mhm.
right? So right now, like people are hurting, you know, in our industry, in the restaurant industry, it is what it is, and there's nothing around it, right? If you're not with people, then you can be working from home, staring at a laptop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you should be fine. But those jobs are tend to have more of have less of mobility, if that makes sense.
So is yours a service related or is it somewhere in between? Like
Yeah, a service. We provide a service for the retailer. We
for
provide a service
retailer, okay.
for the clients. We provide a service for the customer. It's always
Mm-hmm.
people facing.
So how long is like what is your or your company's hedge against like long term, like if you can't do road shows for like next 2 or 3 months?
We don't have a hedge.
Oh, okay.
It's
It's
it's pretty much done. I'm still working. Like I'm running like remote meetings for our new guys.
uh-huh.
I run like 4 different meetings. I will run four meetings every single day.
Uh-huh.
So, but the thing is that business, like we are pretty much done, or going to hibernation
Hibernate
hibernating
hibernation.
for the next couple, probably a few months, I would say.
So is that means that your company once that period is over, are you guys gonna be able to get back on your feet?
Yeah,
Or it's gonna be like a restructure? It's like, oh man, we are like, don't know what we're gonna do.
yeah. If they allow us to be back in there, then we can do business as usual. Like, here's the
Okay.
thing with this business is that it's super flexible, and then if we can just see people, like we can make money. But if the people don't want to see us, or it's not beneficial to see people, then we cannot make money.
So okay, just to be a little bit more direct, seems like you're not concerned.
I'm not
Seems
concerned because I have money saved up,
okay.
but other people are concerned. Like, I don't
Okay.
have to work if I don't want to. But
So you're good if you don't have to work for maybe a few months, maybe a year. I'm just saying, guessing.
yeah,
You're okay. You're fine.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
But
are you paying mortgage on your house or
a little bit,
but not too much?
but it's not that much. And then my car stuff, I can probably make it. I have enough saved up for at least 3 to 6 months
Okay.
because
So yeah,
I've been doing good saving stuff.
yeah, that's good. That's good. That's something that I know you guys touched was the culture of not saving.
That is a Western culture, right? You want something bigger, then you buy something bigger. Because think about it, right? The difference between a $600, I don't know, Nokia phone compared to a Samsung S20, like that costs like $1,200. It's literally $10 a month.
Mm-hmm.
If you get used to that, then you're gonna be hurting right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right?
But yeah. That's I agree. Like that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's. I hope that the people. I'm hoping that we're able to support the local businesses here in some way to like keep them up, keep the economy up here.
Yeah, that's true. But by the end of the day, like we will see, because China has been, because my mom and I, we talk pretty much every single day now. Sometimes I want that.
How's that?
Sometimes I don't want that. Like, we talk like multiple times a day. I was like, you just called me like 6 hours ago, man. Anyway, so
What's changed? Nothing.
yeah. So the thing is that in China they're actually start letting people back to schools now.
Okay.
They start reopening stores. So if you look at the overall timeline, we're talking about end of January to end of March.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
About
So
3 months, 90 days.
yeah. So like the curve start flattering around a couple of weeks ago, 2 to 3 weeks ago. But I remind you, the way that Chinese handle the virus, we can never pull it up here.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, so they're more like hardcore, like somewhere like you, like if you tested positive, like the government will like remove you from your home, and you and your wife will not be able to speak, to talk. You'll be isolation until you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen here. Okay.
Yeah. So what that means is that they might be able to prolong the process because people are less cautious about this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So very realistically, like we will probably start things back up in 6 months, maybe, but nobody wants that, right?
Well, it's gonna hurt big time.
Yeah.
Like right now, people are hoarding stuff given the 2 weeks quarantine.
Yeah.
If it's announced you're going to be in the homes for 6 months, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Costco's going to break down.
So I'm hoping for 2 to 3 months we
Mhm.
can be able to go back to like business. But if people don't care about this, if people just blame it on China, like China is fine right now. Like China is like getting back to work. What are you gonna do here in US? So
I think, I mean, I haven't followed the other states, but it seems like it's going to pop up in other states too. Like,
right now it's in all 50 states.
but I'm talking about like the increase, the rate of increase. Like California, it started in Seattle and Washington. It started kind of like reached a peak or is peaking, and all the other states are gonna like start seeing that happen, like delayed kind of.
Yeah, and I think it's still going up. Like we still haven't reached a peak yet. So.
Yeah. I mean, definitely not in Utah, but it's like it's like the entire country has to reach that peak. And China was pretty much contained in that one district, right? Like,
no,
maybe I'm wrong.
Other China has it too.
Pretty much the entire, not just Wuhan.
Everywhere.
Okay. So
yeah.
But yeah, so we'll kind of see what happens in the next. I mean, let's see what happens in the next week or so after the 2 week. What they do, what they reassess. But yeah, I agree. This is gonna be there for a few more weeks, maybe a few more months.
Yeah. So that's why I just submitted 2 applications for a dog today.
For what?
I am adopting a dog. Hopefully they will pick me.
Okay. So I heard this dog story, and what's up with this dog stuff?
Okay.
Look, like, are you reading this book or something? Dog training?
Yeah. So pretty much like one day I like wake up. I think it happened like last week. I was like I'm not bored or anything, but I always wanted a dog. Right. I had a dog when I was living at my host family.
I will agree. I also thought you were a cat person, but
really?
Apparently you're not.
Cat person? Really?
Like,
I hate cats.
I could kind of feel like I could morph your face into like a cat, like
Jesus.
Like you're spirit person.
Do you see those beautiful teapots? Do you think a cat will just jump on it and then destroy everything?
It might respect that. It might be like a very saintly cat.
I mean, I love dogs, and then I want a dog in the future.
Dogs can destroy stuff too, by the way.
That's true. That's why I'm like, that's why when I'm trying to get a dog, I want to make sure that I have at least, a month or 2 weeks time for me to spend every single second with them training. So for the last 4 days, I've been going down to a loophole, like a rabbit hole. I've been listening to the Tim Ferriss podcast. I got like four different books. I haven't bought it yet, but I got on my wish list. And there's this dog trainer lady. The name is Susan Garrett. Susan Garrett. She's from Canada. She's doing the whole she trained agility dogs. She's like the most well-known dog trainer ever. I started watching every single one of her videos on the YouTube. I started from 2020. I went back to 2014, and I just went down this rabbit hole because I want to figure out what do I do with a new dog. And today I submitted application, so we'll see.
Why did you submit?
Because
where did you submit?
Rescue Rowers. It's like a local Utah nonprofit.
Okay.
First of all, is that they call me back today because I give them a call, say, hey, I message, say, hey, I've never adopt before. I want to know more about your process. They call me back, and then they start posting photos. And no, they start posting videos just today about the dogs. So I submitted 2 applications, one for Debbie and one for Captain Peanut Butter. I'm hoping for the Captain Peanut Butter to fall through.
What breed is a Captain Peanut Butter?
It's a Rottweiler mix. It's a big dog, like 65 pounds.
Oh, Jesus.
What kind of dog do you have? Just wondering.
I have a Labrador Retriever.
Yeah.
My
Debbie is a black lab. So
black lab. So like my lab is about 65 pounds, 70 pounds. So yeah, well, they can grow bigger. Like the males can be 90 to 100 pounds.
Right.
So yeah, good luck. It's a Rottweiler mix. It's a energy dog. How old is the dog? How old is Peanut Butter?
Debbie is 4. The lab mix. My host family, like I was living with them for like 2 years. I took care of the old Labrador mix. It was the same dog but younger. I was like, cool. And then
so Debbie is 4 years and the other one is
a year and a half.
Oh boy.
I know.
Okay, so still got more. 4 years, I can imagine like they're mellowing.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my girl to like mellow out. Really? And she's like 2.5 years old.
Wow. Yeah.
But year and a half. Yep.
Go ahead.
No. I feel like you might have already received a lot of comments and suggestions and things about dog and so I don't need to give you more dog training advice.
Yeah.
But
so my heart, I want a Captain Peanut Butter, but but I think the better fit, I have to go meet a dog. I have to go talk to the foster mom. But I think the Debbie will be a little bit more fitting for my situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
probably. Yeah. I mean, 4 years they mellowed out.
Yeah.
By 4 years.
So like the way that I pick them is that they really put their times into doing the description. I'm not sure if you got your puppies or if you adopted too.
We got puppy.
Puppy.
A breeder.
So it was different, like adoption services that they don't really care. They just say, hey.
We actually went to like humane rescue and stuff.
Yeah.
Before, because we were like, if we got like a puppy-ish 1-year-old lab from there, it would be okay. Mm-hmm. But so our intention was to raise our puppy to be a therapy dog, and for that, you really want one that, if you're raising one, you want more of a purebred one that's like intelligent and stuff like that. So
why do you want a therapy dog, and what kind of stuff that you can train that, what kind of a different approach would you take to raise a therapy dog?
So essentially any dog that you're raising, like for example, guide dogs and stuff, you start training as early as you can.
Right.
6 months, 7 months, stuff like that. So a therapy dog, we would have done the same thing. We should have started doing that. However, the training for a therapy dog essentially just needs to be able to sit still, be able to be like hugged by people,
by children,
children, and not freak out. Like that's kind of ish, For guide dogs and service dogs, they need to be vigilant. They need to be able to bark if something happens, or like able to guide. There's more training involved with that. So, so initially we had thought, and we were like, okay, we're gonna put it a service animal, but essentially we started training her once we got her, like 7 weeks old. We were trying to train her, but then our training tapered off.
How so?
It was just. It was like, as you said, if you really have to you have to train them every single time.
Yep.
Positive enforcement, negative enforcement, whatever you choose, has to be consistent every time. And it was like, I'm tired. and I'm tired. So like her training kind of plateaued out, and right now I'm like, yeah. If you want to make up a therapy dog, sure, we can try to train her a little bit more, but I don't care anymore.
Is there is there anything you do a special with her, like to guide her to that direction, or?
For training to therapy dog.
Uh-huh.
So we would have to, if therapy, for example, so right now she like jumps on people.
Okay.
That would be like a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we would have to train that out of her, and then trying to like sit still for like longer periods of time without jumping or without, like if something else comes, another dog comes in, she still needs to sit still. She can't just run off.
Right.
Like we would have to train that out of her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think those two, she's fine. Like, and she developed, like she barks at people on skateboards wearing glasses and hats.
Wearing glasses and hats, really?
I will have to train that out of her.
Uh-huh.
So maybe if we train those three things out of her, she'll be fine.
Okay. And do you have to like send her to like a boarding school or something, like because they have like camps and whatnot?
You could
Okay.
pay a lot of money for that,
Yeah.
but from the people that I've talked to who have done that, at the end of the day, it depends upon the owner.
So they have to continue that pretty much.
Yeah, you could send her and spend thousands of dollars, but if the owner just doesn't continue it, they will regress or they will learn something different. Like, and my friend has a dog. It's a boxer pit bull mix.
Okay.
And it's not an intelligent dog. So it's a very stubborn dog. And it takes a lot more time for him to like learn anything.
Right.
As opposed to like our dog. I mean, the Labrador breed, or German Shepherd or something, they learn quickly.
Yeah.
It's just the breed. It's like so it helps. Like on the flip side, I'm really surprised how many things my dog has learned without me actively training her.
Right.
Like,
so stuff. Give me an example.
Like for example, if I say it's bedtime, Luna. She'll go to her crate. She'll open the door and go in her crate. Just that. It's like, if I say go find your bone, she'll go and find her bone. Like it's a rawhide bone, she'll go find the bone. The usual, she knows sit, she knows stay, she knows it, like the usual stuff. But just like we're trying to teach her, when we say go home, she needs to go home. Like if you're a little bit a block away, if I say Luna go home, she needs to go home. So we're trying to train her on that.
Okay.
And she's doing well. It's like she's getting there. She's like, so she's understanding the commands that like we're trying to give her.
Okay.
However, I can show you pictures in which she's destroyed couches.
Right.
She's destroyed paintings. She has, what else she's destroyed a lot of stuff. Pillows. She's destroyed pillows.
Right.
And so that was hard. The first year was very hard for us.
Of course. And that's kind of like the thing that my mom asked me today, like a couple hours ago for the second time, is that like, why are you getting a dog? She doesn't get it. And then I thought long and hard. I'm not sure if you share the same perspective or not. It's like, if I don't know how to deal with a dog, how would you expect me to handle a children properly?
They are different, but that was the same sentiment. Like,
yeah.
And
like,
for us, it was my wife and me. Our parenting style is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It's still different, but I think we've kind of made it to work with our dog.
Like there are Softy. She's the hard boss.
I'm the hard guy.
You're the hard guy?
She's a little bit soft.
No, I'm
My
surprised by that because
Yeah, Luna, my dog. She's a mommy's girl. She's a mommy's girl. She's not a daddy's girl, and you can tell that because her mommy gives a lot of treats.
uh-huh.
Her daddy doesn't give a lot of treats.
Okay.
Her daddy gets angry and tells her like, "Don't do this, don't do that." She knows when she's in trouble. She
Okay.
knows when she's in trouble. Um, like just last week, she got into a loaf of bread
Mm-hmm.
and ate the entire half the loaf. She ate half the loaf,
Okay.
and I was like, "Why haven't you eaten your food?" And
Mm-hmm.
I come and see she's eaten half the loaf. That's the reason why she's not having her food.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, "Luna," and she was like, yeah, I know, I'm in
Um,
trouble." Anyway, so it says dogs are very sensitive to that, and obviously they're sensitive to you,
yeah.
your emotions. So as I was telling you, my friend's dog, the half pit bull boxer, is more sensitive to emotions
Mm-hmm.
than my dog. Like
Really.
he's more sensitive to emotions. Like one time he was genuinely depressed,
Mm-hmm.
like because he was staying with us or something like that, and
Mm-hmm.
like he will not eat, he will just stay, and you can be like, you can sense that normally you will eat, now you're not eating today, so something's wrong with you. So
Uh-huh.
and that next day he was fine. So it's
Okay.
just it's just
A bit more
it's
moody.
gonna be a little bit more, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be, I think, having somebody, and especially in this time, like if you had a dog, you have somebody to take care of,
Yeah.
uh and like train them and stuff. However, once you start working, you got to make sure that they have that much attention to,
Yeah, I know.
uh,
Yeah, that's kind of like my biggest concern right now. I'm gonna voice it to the foster family as well, is that, you know, I'm gonna do my best for the next month. I'm gonna spend time
yeah.
every single day, every single minute with her to try to get her on the same track. And you know, but after
Well,
that, I still want to be able
yeah.
to spend time with her. You know, like walk the dogs and whatnot. Still continue that, but
Well, so if that's the case, then don't spend every minute with her.
right.
Because if you spend every minute with her, it's like saying, "I'm going to be there always."
Yeah, that's
Anyways,
true. So
like that's something that you might want to train. Is okay to be like, for you to go away, for it to be independent. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
that's kind of my like goal. Because for the first little bit, I want her to be more close with me, and then as time goes on, that's what I read, that's what I heard from the podcast.
You
Is
bond, you want to bond with your
yeah,
dog.
for the
Yeah.
first beginning, like she's gonna be with me like 24/7, you know, on a leash in the beginning, and then after she get more comfortable,
Yeah,
and
you can leave her longer, and
yeah,
then like,
I can leave
but
her
yeah, first
in the yard
bond with her.
for like an hour, and then 2 hours, and then 3 hours, and work my way up to like 8 hours, maybe not 8 hours, but like 4 hours, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Those.
So for example, my dog, because we raised her in a condo.
Right.
Now that we have a yard,
Mm-hmm.
she doesn't know what to do with it.
Right.
So if I send her out in the yard by herself,
Mm-hmm.
she wants to come in,
Right.
because it's like, you guys are inside, why am I outside?
Right.
You know. So, and I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, that makes sense, because all the time that she's been living with us, she's been always with us.
Mm-hmm.
Or we have taken her to like a park, like we're there with her,
Mm-hmm.
or somebody is with her. She's not alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? But other dogs in our area, they're always like out and alone and barking, barking, barking.
Right.
Like, okay. So I mean, yeah, some those things you want to have to keep in mind when you're training her, but it's gonna be a sweet experience. I think it's gonna be a neat
Yeah,
experience.
because I honestly feel like, because I'm in a people facing business, and then people like are like jackasses with their kids. You know, like, you know, because you've been to Costco before, like you've seen those parents. It's like the kids are crying. It's like, don't cry. What are you doing? Don't cry. It's like, what are you doing? Like isn't it your own child? And then they drag him on the floor. I was like, really? And then you're getting a children? Like, you know, people are on their phone when they're like, you know, like pushing the kids. I was like, what are you doing? Right?
Well, to them, I mean, to that effect, I will give them some sympathy. It's not easy.
Yeah, I
I
know.
mean, you know, and sometimes it's just hard. I mean, I haven't raised kids, and but it's, I don't know. I mean, I want to give them some sympathy. It's not super easy,
I know,
uh,
it's not really, but the thing
but
is,
it can help.
I feel like I will be better prepared or have a better grasp instead of, okay, I'm right here raising bonsai trees and goldfish, and you're like, give me a baby. I was like, what? Like,
Yeah, I mean, you can't just water the baby or swim. There you go, swim in the water. I
yeah,
just come every now and then. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a dog's gonna definitely teach you more.
yeah.
So,
So I mean, like, so that's why, like, I kind of approach it this way to a point. Like yesterday, like my head was literally hurting from
uh,
watching all the videos, from reading all the
uh-huh.
paragraphs, taking notes. And I want to do a podcast towards the end of the day. Like I want to do a series of podcasts and put the fence. Like, oh, I'm too tired. I don't want to do this anymore. So
No, I would like once you get a dog, maybe do a vlog or something
like the
uh,
Instagram channel or something.
like you know, like yeah. That would be interesting to see how that happens. Like right now, I mean, we've talked about me and my wife, like, should we get a second dog?
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a yard, maybe we should, maybe we shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
But we're kind of struggling because we go out a lot
Right.
and like we can take our dog on hikes and stuff, but we have two dogs and we're going out camping.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a little bit more difficult to like
Right.
do that.
And
So we're kind of
if our dogs are friends, and like we can hang out or something. I can drop at your place and drop at my place.
I don't mind. I don't mind. Like sure, like they will fight, but and that's one thing you'll find out if you go take your dog to a dog park. It's sometimes you just gotta let dogs be dogs.
Right.
Sometimes you have to realize that not all dogs have been bred to socialize.
Right.
But it's a lot of it is like the owners get very anxious and afraid.
Mm-hmm.
So my dog's been in fights. It
Yeah.
has been, and we stopped taking her to like dog parks and such because she could get in fights. And it's like the owners would be like, "Take your dog away!" Like it's like, and it's like I'm not even gonna bother. I'm just gonna like because like with her friend, the pit bull boxer,
Mm-hmm.
they fought the first time, but since then they're like really good friends. They do stuff together. Like they had a really big fight a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're okay. They forgave each other. Like, but you just gotta let them do it. Like
Yeah.
obviously, if it's somebody that throat and kind of like you remove it, but it's like sometimes they might play aggressively, and you have to
Be more
kind of just
mindful.
be more mindful, like when they're playing aggressively and when it's like actual um, like attack. So,
And
but
go ahead.
no, but I mean, like your dog could be different, totally, right? So,
Yeah, that's the one thing that I'm kind of interested in finding out. Like, is that I have everything in like theory, and then my motivation is to train her, because I do see it as like an investment, and I want to practice how to be more mindful around her,
mm-hmm.
right? Or like, because I get like people like have a new toy and then they like, like they're excited and they kind of flash out a little bit, right?
Yeah.
A new car, a new phone, a new shoes, right? And I want to practice myself. Like that's why I meditate for like a lot. Like I want to make sure that I can focus my attention on a certain thing for longer. And
That's true.
if I
Wait,
cannot do it for my dog, then I probably cannot do it for my future children as well.
hold on.
Is Luna gonna make an appearance?
Luna.
Luna's here?
Luna.
Luna is sleeping? Is that what your wife said? All right.
You wanna hop up here?
Luna's here?
Lena, come on. Come on, Shitty girl. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Can you
Look
see
at
her? Look at her. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Let's kill him. Let's kill him. Yeah. Who's that? Look at that. She's like trying to find him.
Where's Kevin?
Where's
Hi.
that? Where's that person?
Speak my language.
There you go. Okay, go find Mama. Go find Mama. Like, she knows who Mama is. She knows who Papa is.
Yeah.
If I tell her, go find Papa, she'll come to me. If I say, go find Mama, she'll come. Hi! You're back? You're back. Oh, who is that? What is that? Oh, what is that?
You gonna end the podcast?
Oh, okay. She sniffed my dragon. Yes.
What's up?
Who's that?
Not bad.
Okay. All right, Shitty girl. All right. So go get your bone. Go get your bone. Go get your bone, sweetie. Okay, go get your bone. Hey, Luna, go get your bone, sweetie. Do you want to come up? You want to come up?
There you go. All right. You're gonna chill us out for a little bit? I guess not.
What?
You're gonna chill us a little bit? Probably not.
I don't know. So, but she's excited. She's excited to be on the show.
Good. Awesome.
This is yeah. Okay, baby girl. Okay. What are you trying to find? All right. For some reason, she's super excited. So.
Cool. She's on a
Go
podcast.
get your bone. Do you know where your bone is? Go get your bone. Go get your bone. Where's your bone? Find it. Find your bone. Go. Go find your bone.
Not bad. Yeah.
There you go.
Anyways. I look forward to meeting her in person. So.
Yeah, for sure. So, anyways, so yeah. Do you want to call it or?
Cool. Yeah. We can call it. Are you getting more like tired because you need your like rest or something?
Yeah, I'm getting. I feel like I'm getting like I need to go sleep.
Yeah, that's fine. And
but
since we're both in quarantine, like, do you want to do this more like often or?
Yeah, we could do it in maybe in a week's time. So.
All right. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Anything else?
I had so many things to ask you. I'll kind of leave it to the next one. It's
what do you want to ask me?
And we're just gonna discuss like I'm gonna listen to more of your podcasts and kind of like there are a few things that I was like, oh, I may want to discuss that with Kevin and stuff like that. But I'll kind of write it down so it's more coherent for me.
Yeah. And we can do it like in every few days or something, or we don't have to wait for that long.
But I'll let you know my schedule. Okay.
All right. Cool,
man.
Not bad.
Okay.
Good.
Not bad. You too, man.
All right, we're gonna stop recording right